What it is, what it was, what it could be, y'all. Welcome back to Disc Golf Justice, and we're back here on my property building holes 5 and 6 for the home course build. And I apologize for not getting a video out last month on this. Had a lot of stuff going on, and then I sprained my ankle really bad, so I just haven't really been able to throw backhands. I can only throw forehand at the moment, but I'm starting to feel a bit better. I can walk around on uneven ground again, so we're out here building some holes. So hole 5, I have a few different tee pad options. The basket location is going to be the same regardless, but I'm going to take you guys through a few different tee pad options once I install the basket down there. I'm going to start you off on the one that I'm most considering here for hole 5. It is 426 feet from the tee pad here on this terrace, throwing across over to where the basket will be. I have some drone fly-throughs going right now that you'll hopefully be able to see. And the basket is over there on the other terrace 426 feet away. Basically what the deal is, from the terrace in front of me all the way over to the other terrace is all OB. I don't like artificial OB, but this doesn't seem that artificial to me because there's a distinct land characteristic that's marking the OB. If you go over the terrace, you're OB. If you don't make it onto the next terrace, you're OB. So you can either lay up down to this front little area before the terrace and then throw over from there. You can go straight over 426 feet. It is a bit downhill as well, but it's always swirly here. Today is very calm, but it's normally very swirly here. You can take the risk going 426 feet over, or what I also want to kind of incorporate, I haven't quite figured it out, maybe you guys can help me. There's this birch tree down here to the left. I feel like make a mando right of that, but you can do it's like a 308 foot hyzer. If you throw off of this terrace around that birch tree, still staying up on this side of the terrace over there. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys, because you can't go down into that little valley there below the terrace. So you have to go around the birch tree and land on that other terrace. It makes sense in my head, but this is probably sounding ridiculously confusing the way I'm explaining it. You can go around the birch tree, mando right of it, but you still got to land up on the high side of the terrace. But then it makes your next throw over the little valley there a lot easier and more manageable. It's only like a 150 foot shot. Whereas from here, 427 feet, if you go down to that bottom terrace there, I believe it's 250 or something like that. I can't remember exactly what I UDIS'd it out to. I'm not completely sold on this location, just because for one, it pretty much takes any sort of forehand play out of it, and my goal is to have all the holes at least try to be forehand and backhandable. They don't all, like, you can have a forehand hole and a backhand hole, but I want to try to make it as evenly distributed as possible. This route, unless you just lay up down to this terrace down there with a little flick, which is only like 180 feet down to the lip of the terrace, you wouldn't want to throw any further than 180 feet and it's downhill. Anyone like me is not throwing 426 feet on a forehand. I'm not throwing that far. If you're throwing that far, you got a cannon. But the other two options I have also don't really have any forehand plays. There's different strategies going on. So I'm thinking this would be a par 3. You can go for it and try to get the bird. You can lay up and then go for it and take your par. Or you can go OB and take a bogey, whatever. But I'm gonna show you a couple other different layout options. See, this location, all I did is I moved about, 15, 20 yards to the left of where you guys just were. And it'd be the same thing pretty much, except it's only about 396 feet. So it's a little more manageable getting there, plus it still is downhill. Because 426 feet, it's downhill, it's a rip. It's a rip, I can throw 460 feet, but that's a perfect throw to do it. And the odds of me throwing a perfect throw every time, very slim. So 396 foot shot, I know I can do that pretty easily. This, I would still have that mando right of the birch tree where you can throw a big hyzer around and to make your layup a bit easier, or you can just, kind of pitch something down this hill to that terrace up there and then go over. If you only throw it down to that first terrace from here, it's only like 150 feet. You can't really throw any further than like 160 at most. So I don't know how I feel about that. I do think this is a cool shot, like throwing in between this ash tree could get in your way. This mulberry tree, I'm sure will grow, could get in your way a little bit. The birch tree could get in your way, or you could go OB. Actually, the more I look at it, the more I kind of like this pin position, or this tee box position more than the other one. But I'm also going to show you one last tee box position. And last but not least, this is the other tee pad location I'm thinking of. From here, it's about 376 feet to get completely across. I can't throw a 376 foot forehand even if it is downhill, but I mean some people definitely can. Not that people couldn't throw the other one, but this is a little bit more manageable. The backhand route for the layup, if you wanted to pitch around, still mando right of this birch tree, but if you wanted to pitch around onto that other side of the terrace, makes it a lot easier. It's only like a 250 foot hyzer, and you can actually see your desired landing location a lot better. You can throw it up a lot further. There is that little gap, if you see where the two terraces kind of go like this but they don't touch. You can't land in between there. You can't land in between there. That's actually the tip of the one on the left is going to be the drop zone if you do go into the Valley OB. This one I do like because 376, you could easily clear it. You wouldn't even want to go too far because I'm gonna have that basket set up on the edge or near the edge of the terrace. So if you go too far, you got a downhill putt with OB right behind you. You got a downhill death putt. And I wouldn't really want to do that. So you'd want to not go too far. So you'd have to have some sort of distance control, or you could lay up over there and throw across. I like all three versions of these. To be honest, I like the one I just showed you before and this one the most, probably, the more I think about it. But I don't know. Maybe it could be a hole where you have two tee pad locations and you mix it up. Usually you have different pin locations, but I don't know. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this hole. I'm gonna go get the basket installed and then we'll show you hole 6 as well. And then I'll get drone fly throughs again so you can see what it looks like with the actual basket there. All right, so I'm thinking of putting the basket not directly on the edge because the edge of this terrace would be about here, but I'd like to put it, about right here where you have a little bit of leeway here, but you're gonna have a death putt no matter what. You're kind of looking at a death putt if you go too far. You either want to land left or right of the pin, and then hopefully like the tee boxes would be up there, whichever one I choose, and hopefully you can see over here to camera right the terrace that I was talking about, where if you got to go around that birch tree and you can land on the high side of this terrace over here and then just pitch it across, whichever route you want to take. So we're gonna get this basket installed and then I'll put the tires on and then I'll show you guys hole 6. And we'll go on to hole 7. I'm all confused at what number hole I'm on. I'm pretty sure this is hole 6. I keep saying hole 7. So hole 6, we're up near my house again. We're like halfway down hole 1's fairway, if you remember from the first video, second video, whatever it was. So we got about a 356 foot or 360, something around there. I can't remember what I used this one either. But you're throwing off of this hill, down over across this valley, over that terrace and into those trees. There's gonna be a basket parked in the middle of those trees. And I'm gonna do a little bit of shaving of some of the dead branches there so it's a bit easier to throw something in there. But you can throw a backhand in there. There's like a back door route to the right of some of them ash trees where you can cut it in behind the trees and get in there. You can go kind of straight at it, something that turns and fades into that little gap between the pine tree and those green ashes. Or you can throw a forehand. It's kind of a big forehand. I was testing it out yesterday because I can throw forehand still. It's backhands rotating on that ankle is where I'm struggling. But forehands, it's a toss. I was trying with a little bit too overstable a disc and I was trying to crank it over and I was just coming up short every single time. I think if I took a more flippy disc and threw it over there, I could get a lot closer, but it's a big forehand. It's like a 356 foot forehand or something like that. But I like this hole. It's a little pitch in there and then it leads into the next hole coming back towards the house through the trees, which would be nice coming back having to hit a gap again, because the first 2 holes you had to hit a gap. Well, actually first 3 holes you had to hit a gap, and then since then it's been pretty gapless but open, just throwing big bombs, which I want a bit of both. So this one will be the last throwing in. You have to hit a gap down there or putt through a gap, and then coming back for hole 7 we'll be throwing through the trees again. So I think that'll be pretty cool. But let's go install this basket. A little nature appreciation moment for these irises that are growing up. I've been mowing around them because I just think they're beautiful. They're wild iris too. The purple ones are the wild ones. I think the blue ones are pretty wild too, if I'm not mistaken. Just, would you look at that? How about that? And y'all know I love purple. This one's a little bit ugly. He's been blooming for a little while, so they're kind of almost done. That's beautiful. And my apple trees coming along nicely. Place is shaping up. All right, I'm thinking now we're in these trees. I want to have a clear path to the tee box. So if we push it up about right here, I think that's perfect. I'll eventually probably bring my bushwhacker out here and whack all this grass down, at least around the basket. But for now, this will be fine. You do gotta watch out for ticks though out here. There's a lot of ticks. I have to check the dogs over every night. Let's get this installed. My OCD makes me have to go big tires on the bottom, big to small. It has to, or it'll drive me nuts. And just like that, we got another 2 holes installed. I'll even play these holes a little bit. It'll be forehand only, so for the big hole I ain't gonna be able to make it across, but let's give a chuck. I lied, I forgot I wanted to cut some of these dead branches off. Just the dead ones though. That should be pretty good for now, I reckon. Maybe I'll grab this one over here too. That should help make it easier to get into the basket and not get kicked out and denied by dead branches. All right, I think for now, I'm liking this one the most. It's about 396 feet across, like I said. I can't throw that on the forehand. I'm not about to try to risk any more further injury to my ankle until it's fully recovered. I can throw backhands, it's just, I think it's more of a mental thing. It's in my head and I don't trust my ankle, so it makes me hesitant, and then I better not for a little while longer. What I am gonna do is I'm gonna try to get over there with the forehand, knowing dang well I'm not gonna be able to make it, and then I'm gonna play from the drop zone so you guys can see what that's looking like. So, brought a couple of discs out here. There's a couple of different things you could do, like you could do with the Captain's Raptor or overstable 9-speed, big hyzer out of here and just get around that birch tree and fade on the high side of the terrace there. Again, not trying to throw backhands. You could just pitch a zone up to this front one and make the throw across a lot easier. I could do that. Maybe I'll do both of them. I don't know. Yeah, actually, let's do both of them. We'll throw a zone down there, and then I'll try to go across with Captain Thrasher. Dang, that's way too much. OB that way. It's really downhill, so you don't got to put much on it at all. I'll try it again with the Captain's Raptor. I'm likely not going to use this. Nice and easy. I think so beefy. But I mean, that should be about perfect though. Forgot I was going to try the throw across too. And we got a headwind, so anyone's guess how this is going to go. Oh, I have a good guess actually. OB is where it's going to go. Too much anhyzer for downhill. I could almost do that and get across on the high side. That was a clean release, no flutters or anything. I just threw it on anhyzer downhill into a headwind, and it's not the most stable disc, so that's what happens. I'd say that's my biggest complaint with this T-pad location is just this upshot if you want to pitch it up to this terrace. It's so short. Like, I barely flicked that zone, and it went about 11 yards OB. Because it's downhill, it's a short shot. It's the only thing I don't like about it. You can do the big hyzer around the birch tree, but I don't know. We're still playing around with the T-pad location, but this will be the overall whole design. Now we got Captain's Thrasher. I wish I would have brought something a little more stable, to be honest. But I just grabbed a couple of discs off my shelf. I'm gonna try to get it across here. A little too nose up. Get there though. Oh yeah, easy. Yeah, easy. I just threw it 2 nose up, but we cleared over there by a good 15 yards. But we're gonna have a death putt. And that's the thing about the layup shot. This is for par, and this is a C2 downhill death putt look for par. It almost makes you feel like if you're gonna lay up, I would lay up over there so that you have a short pitch across. Or I would just go for it. If you don't make it, you're over at the drop zone over there, which I'll take you guys to. And then you have a short shot and still take a bogey. Whereas this C2 look downhill death putt for par, if I miss this coming back from the drop zone, I'll have to work out how that will work. If you make it across and then go OB, surely you don't have to go back to the drop zone, right? That'd be kind of silly. So maybe if you make it across and then you go back OB, you just take it back in line from your shot. But yeah, you'd have a death putt for par, you go OB, you're coming back for a double bogey. So it might even be just a smart play to go for it from the tee box, try to get over. If you don't, go to the drop zone and take your bogey instead of risking double bogey. Or you can, you know, do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. All I got's a zone too. I don't even have an actual putter. So just lay that up there. Tap in or bogey. So the drop zone would be right here. Having to throw over OB again still to save a par if you throw it in from here, or have a bogey look. That barely made it over. Barely made it over. I think that's actually one of the first backhands I've thrown too. I like this hole. I just got to figure out where exactly I want that tee pad. But as for a hole design, I do like this. I like throwing over this terrace, having to make it over. I like the drop zone look. I'm happy with that. It's just finding that perfect tee box location. Comment down below which one you guys like the most. I'll tell you what, we've been having some absolutely gorgeous weather lately. Very rarely in Nebraska do we get days with 0 wind like it has been for like the last week. I do wish it would rain a little bit though. It's already starting to get pretty dry and even the grass is getting crispy. I might have to start at least watering around the house here soon. Anyways, hole 6, throwing across this. There's no OB or nothing on this. You don't have to make it across. If I had my backhand on me, I'd pretty easily get there, I reckon, but we're gonna try to get there with the forehand. Too much anhyzer. Dang it. That was the one, I reckon. That was the one. I just put on a little bit too much anhyzer and a little too low. It ended up coming up real short there. We still got like 100 some feet to go. So we'll throw a little McFlicker in there. Almost threw that in, just a little too hot. Nice little flex shot on it though. I will say, my forehand's really been coming along. It was coming along before, but then the ankle injury happened, so all I can throw is forehands. Obviously that drive doesn't really back up what I'm saying, but I promise it has been getting a lot better. Oof, we went in there pretty good. The only other thing that sucks about being up in these trees, since I haven't really cleared them all out that much yet, there is poison ivy and stuff in here. I'm just gonna pitch this out. Even though it was a legal stance, whatever. You guys get the gist of the hole. I like the hole, especially if I had my backhand going for me, it'd be a lot more fun. And I know I can get there on the forehand. I need to throw a better shot and need to have the right disc. But anyways, comment down below what you guys think of these two new holes. I like them. I think I just need to figure out the tee pad situation on hole 5. And I like this hole, and it leads into the next one, and I don't have a whole ton of crisscrossing fairways. There probably will be some, but it's not too bad for me being an amateur course designer. But make sure you guys hit the thumbs up, smash the subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.